This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
And welcome to the program. I'm Roby Brock. Thank you for joining us. Well, lawmakers met at the state capitol this past week for their fiscal session. They discussed some budgetary and non-budgetary issues, such as the Texas-style anti-abortion bill. At the end of the day, they decided to stick with fiscal matters in the fiscal session. I caught up with Representative Monte Hodges, Democrat of Blytheville. He leads the Legislative Black Caucus, and he is the A candidate for Congress in the 1st Congressional District against U.S. Representative Rick Crawford. Hodges has been dealing head-on with a controversy from a 20-year-ago accusation. That's where we begin our conversation. All right, let's begin first with a sensitive topic, but one I think we need to clear the air on. There's an allegation against you that has made some news headlines. It's from 20 years ago. You are accused of sexually assaulting a minor.
Yes.
The charges were never filed, in part due to lack of evidence. The police report does indicate you failed a polygraph test on the subject there. What should voters think about this accusation?
You know, they're false accusations. Like I said, it's 2 decades ago. Yes, I did fail the polygraph, one that I agreed to take on my own because I wanted this situation to kind of go away because it was such a unbelievable situation for my wife and I. First of all, let me back and I want to start. I'd be remiss not to tell, my constituents and thank you, my wife and my son, Jeremiah. Thank you for just allowing me to serve. And they've sent me here to Little Rock for the past 10 years to be their representative. And I have a strong village and a strong support system back home that love and undergird me. So I just want to put that out there and say thanks to all of them before we got started. So I agreed to take the polygraph and all, but they were false allegations. The polygraphs are insubmissible in court. And there's a reason they are insubmissible. As I talked to my attorney friends, my judge friends, they said, because they're inconsistent, and so that was the case.
The Democratic chairman of the Democratic Party of Arkansas, Grant Tennille, says you should drop out of the race. Should you stay in this race? Should you drop out?
You know what? Grant is entitled to his opinion, just as I'm entitled to mine, and I feel very confident that I will stay in the race and that I am going to stay in the race. I'm not running for a party, although I'm a proud Democrat. I've been a Democrat now for since I was 18, since I registered to vote. When I was born, a little nappy head. I did have hair at one time. A little nappy head boy from Blytheville, Mississippi County, Delta boy. I didn't know what a Democrat was. And so I'm running for the Delta. I'm running for the people of the Delta. I consider myself a Delta Democrat. And you see the Delta come before the Democrat because the people of the 1st Congressional District needs a voice.
Tell me, in your race for Congress, name 2 votes you would have done differently than Representative Rick Crawford in his time there.
First of all, we can't assume that Rick Crawford will be the one I'm running against because, he does have a primary contender, Representative Grant Smith. But, our current congressman has not been present. I went on an 8-day tour of the 31 counties in the 1st Congressional District. It's a huge district from the Arkansas, Missouri border to the Louisiana border. And so in conversation with those wonderful people in the 1st Congressional District, that I saw the excitement in their eyes when they knew that there's going to be somebody to actually come and touch the district and be a voice for the district. They said, we've not seen him. So he's been absentee. We had the largest groundbreaking, a $3 billion U.S. steel announced the other day, and he didn't even show up for that. So he's voted straight party line. I've proven my record these 10 years, my 10-year tenure here in the Arkansas House, that I can work across the aisle. You interviewed me back almost 10 years ago when I carried Amendment 82. I carried that heavy lifting to bring Big River Steel, $1 billion steel mill to Osceola in my district, and I didn't do that alone. It took my Republican counterparts to help make that happen, and we made it happen. So I've proven a record that I can work across the aisle, and I'm not going to be answering to Nancy Pelosi, but I'm going to be answering to the people that elect me to be their voice in DC.
Give me a piece of legislation that Rick Crawford has voted one way on, you would vote a different way on.
Absolutely. We just had the bipartisan infrastructure bill. And how many people know that we need infrastructure dollars in the state of Arkansas? And he voted against that infrastructure bill that brought $4 billion. That's with a B. That's $1 billion with a B to the state of Arkansas. It's going to help us with our broadband issues, our roads. We have first-class farmers that's producing first-class products, and they have to drive on third world roads and bridges. And so to vote against our own self-interest here in the state, here particularly here in the Delta, is just disheartening. And so I would definitely not vote for against an infrastructure bill that's going to help our state in so many ways.
You and I are talking today from the Arkansas House of Representatives chamber. The legislature is meeting in fiscal session. There was a lot of debate early in the week about taking on some issues outside of fiscal issues, particularly a Texas-style anti-abortion law. Did the legislature make the right call on that? And are y'all going to stay focused on fiscal issues? Is that all for that debate?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was glad to hear that it died in the committee, a long debated issue and all. And it's my hopes, my desire that we stay on fiscal issues. That's what we're sent here. That's the reason we have two sessions. You know, we have a regular session that we've already gone through, and now we're at fiscal session, and we need to stick to the work at hand, which is the budget. You know, the Arkansas Democrat just brought out. Had an article in the paper the other day about the dollars that's been spent on legislators, on per diem and things of that nature. And so these are taxpayers' dollars when we're down here doing the work of the people. And we want to be fiscally responsible with those tax dollars and get in here, take care of the business at hand, the business that we need to address so we can get home.
What's the biggest potential issue that you see out there from on a budget item? Where do you think there's going to be some conflict or some need for some adjustments to be made from what the governor's proposed and what the legislature's looking to do?
So I'm big on criminal justice reform, prison reform, and I think spending money on adding more beds to our criminal justice system is not the key to fixing our criminal justice system. Arkansas is the fastest growing in incarceration in our democracy. If we're the fastest growing state when it comes to incarcerating people. So if we know that, we should find ways to fix that, fix recidivism. The punishment should fit the crime. We've done a good job blocking people up. Let's find a way of transitioning these folks back into society so they can become productive part of society. So, spending money on 500-bed facility, I don't think is key. I'm all for giving law enforcement officers bonuses. I think that's important, but that's a quick fix. Let's find ways to give them raises so that we can give them competitive wages so that we can get the best law enforcement officers to come work in our state. Right in my own district, I have officers leaving, going to work over in Tennessee because the salaries are so much better. So I don't think throwing money at bonuses and things, which don't get me wrong, I want to compensate them and let them know that we appreciate them, but that's just a temporary fix. So those temporary fix for our law enforcement officers and throwing money at to add more beds to our prison, I think we can use that money in better ways, to be honest with you.
So if I may interpret your answer, you're going to vote for the bonuses for those public safety officials, but you're going to vote against the $60 to $100 million jail expansion.
You're probably on point, Roby. Yeah,
Right.
You're probably on point. Yeah.
All right. Do you see something that may force some sort of compromise on that? Is there a way to spend money on that new prison and do some of the other programmatic things that you're advocating?
I really think we just really need to seriously think and be creative on ways to transition these guys. Senator Elliott and I worked on some legislation to retroactivate Act 570. You have, and that's really a small population of our prison population. These guys have gotten these long sentences for crimes that they served the time. I have a constituent that just got released in my district, just got pardoned thanks to our governor after serving 30 years. He served 30 years. Although he was a repeat offender, he only sold $250 worth of marijuana. But so he has served 30 years in our state's prison. So we've spent all this money. So I'm a banker. So economically, you spend $1 million on a inmate that only sold $250 worth of marijuana. That just doesn't make sense.
All right, he's Representative Monte Hodges. Always good to visit with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate you.